Delve into the UAE announcing golden visas, priority Indians, and it seems like a lifetime visa for all the talent that they're trying to attract from the country. What are the norms and the actual rules to get that visa? We're going to tell you a lot more on that. And of course, Tamil Nadu at this point under the spotlight for number of police brutality cases that are coming to light, really leaving the DMK government at this point red-faced. And finally, taking you through the BRICS versus Trump tariff debate. Trump is all set to announce tariffs on all the BRICS member countries. Will India be featuring in that list amid all the bonhomie between the two countries? As always, let me start with the headlines. Tahavur Rana admits role as Pakistan army agent, claims that he helped plan 26/11 with Headley. Tahavur Rana reveals that he received multiple training sessions with Pakistan-based terror group LET. Supreme Court agrees to hear pleas against Bihar electoral roll revision on July 10th. Opposition leaders, activists challenge Election Commission special revision. The Supreme Court refuses an interim stay. AIADMK's EPS kicks off 2026 poll campaign from Mettupalayam in Tamil Nadu, says happy to ally with anybody who wants to defeat the DMK government and expresses confidence in AIADMK's return. Remember, AIADMK now is an ally of the BJP. The two really hopeful that they could trump the DMK this time. FIR against the BJP leader's son, Santosh Jarkioli in Karnataka, for using a gun. Not too sure if it was a licensed gun, but he fires the gun at a temple festival in Belagavi. He is called in for questioning. The Delhi High Court upholds revocation of Turkish firm Celebi's security clearance on national security grounds. Court cites espionage risks. The Bureau of Civil Aviation Security acted after Turkey backed Pakistan post India's anti-terror strikes. All-party forum urges centre to award Bharat Ratna to Dalai Lama, seeks parliament address. In fact, 80 MPs have backed the move despite China risk. Signature campaign aims for 100 parliamentarians. Remember, this comes at a time when China has already sent a subtle warning to India, don't interfere with China's internal affairs, suggesting that Dalai Lama is a political exile. Kenya police opens fire, use water cannons on Sabah protesters demanding President Ruto's resignation. Several injured in Nairobi as citizens mark 35 years since pro-democracy uprising against autocratic rule. Bangladesh tribunal to decide on framing charges against ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. On July 10th, Hasina's ex-Home Minister and ex-police chief faced crimes against humanity charges as well. So it seems like Bangladesh really waiting for Sheikh Hasina to come back so she can face those charges. She remains in India now. And UAE launches 23 lakh nominations based visa, basically each visa to cost about 23 lakhs. New scheme eases long-term residency without hefty property or business investment requirements. But there are rules to the game. We're going to take you through that in our top story. All right, let me start with the top story. A lot of buzz around getting a pass to UAE for barely 23 lakhs for a lifetime. Is that true? Well, getting a UAE golden visa used to cost a fortune. You needed to invest in property worth at least 2 million dirhams. That's over 4.5 crores. Or have a massive business investment there. But that's not the norm anymore. UAE has just rolled out a nomination-based golden visa, and Indians are being prioritized here in the new phase. Eligible Indians can now apply for a 10-year UAE residency visa. through government nomination. In fact, government has to vet it, and if UAE believes that you're bringing value to the country, then you very well will be in for 23 lakhs for a lifetime. Well, there's no big ticket investment anymore. If you want to get this, then you've got to be a person of value. The visa is open to professionals in science, in startups, culture, finance, trade, and even influencers. You can also sponsor, if you do get the visa, you can sponsor then your spouse, your children, and adult children, parents, and household staff as well to come stay with you. The process is just launched across 6 Indian cities where the process will be initiated, and that includes Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Pune, through new centers of the excellence by BFS and Rayad Group. These are centers that are carrying out this visa processing. Of course, they're going to vet you thoroughly. They are all set to use generative AI tools alongside legal vetting process to guide the applicants on how to go about it. But of course, 23 lakhs is really not a guarantee here. It's just the starting cost. Every applicant has to go through strict background checks. They'll verify your criminal history, your social media presence, whether you genuinely bring value to UAE's economy and their culture. Only then will your application be sent to the UAE government for final approval. Also, unlike property-linked visa, this nomination-based visa won't be cancelled if you sell your property or your assets. It does stay valid for life. And we hear in phase 1, India and Bangladesh have been picked for priority rollout. UAE wants at least 5,000 Indian applicants to apply in the next 3 months. That's their priority. Basically, India stands the first chance. So if you're a change maker, a dreamer, a doer, the door is, of course, wide open for you in UAE. The question does remain, will you walk that through? I'm joined by Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal, former Indian diplomat. I also have with me Professor Rakesh Mohan Joshi, Vice Chancellor, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, and Manish Chad, CEO, Center for Global India Insights. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. A quick word from the Ambassador himself. Sir Suresh, your take on why do you think UAE is doing something like this? We have great ties. The two countries have the best relations. In fact, News9 had very recently had a India-UAE summit, a very successful one. Based on the kind of relationship the two countries share, we already have enough of our workforce working there without a hassle. Not even without the golden visa, Indians managed to find a place there and a residency. What do you think is this fresh rollout of this special golden visa purposed for?
Very puzzling, but I must say that when I went through the details, first of all, making this golden visa available to Indians and Bangladeshis. Why Bangladeshis with India? It's like this. I'm a bit puzzled by this really, but otherwise, on the surface of it, it is completely a commercial proposition. I really won't really take it to the level of a political favor or political kind of an instrument. UAE does welcome people of professional class to come to UAE, whether the doctors, nurses, industrialists, all kinds of people really who can contribute to the UAE economy, and therefore as a means of encouragement for them to come and for the families to join with them, and if they want to sponsor somebody else, they would make a kind of a scheme to encourage them to come. And that is where I actually would, it's a very attractive scheme, reminds me of the golden visa from Trump. Was it $1 million or something, whatever it is much cheaper to go to the UAE really. And the facilities in terms of what you can get, as good as what you can get in the USA. So I think on the whole, it's a great scheme. If I had 23 lakh rupees, I would probably think about it again. But still a lot of money for many Indians. But on the whole, a good commercial scheme, really, I would say, betting and everything, but I would leave it there, really.
I'm also bringing to bring our business specialist here, sir. Mr. Chad, your take on UAE trying to really cobble up every talent from India from different verticals to come to the UAE and boost their economy. There was a belief a little earlier that said people who have a golden visa, the taxman's eye is on you. That was the perception, or even now the perception here in India. Don't get a golden visa because then the taxman's eyes are on you. But here UAE is now opening it to people, and just about any Indian, 23 lakhs, if you have good history, then you're allowed into UAE. Of course, you've got to be someone with talent, but it's not difficult. 5,000 in the first 3 months itself that they're rolling out. Mr. Chan? Sir, please go on. Yeah, that's for you.
You want me to speak?
Yes, sir.
I think it's a scheme just to attract talents from across the world. And if you see that, what they have said is 100,000 AED, the dirham. 100,000 dirham, which works out to only 23,000 rupees. But if you go into the details of the criteria, I think many Indians should be able to get this visa easily because it includes the scientists, senior executive professionals, professors, teachers, and even PhD researchers. The people in the top 100 institutes from the country whose GPA is more than 3.8. So almost all the intellectual class is going to get it. And UAE, as you have seen, that, it has become a society which is, knowledge-based society. And I think it talks of the commitment of the UAE to build a knowledge-based society. UAE, despite of having a population, the Indian population in UAE works out to almost 36 lakhs Indian resides in UAE. And if you see, the UAE is a country which is small, but it's very, very competitive in terms of, say, the logistics index. It works out to, very high logistics, corruption, and the infrastructure, it provides world-class infrastructure. It's easy to go to UAE. Then UAE is also offering, the stability in terms of its policy, stability in terms of its development, unlike America. So, UAE is incidentally capitalizing the instability in America, where the policy is, uncertainty and unpredictability is probably at the top. And therefore, only thing is, India, many people can go, but you said about the taxation and the taxman. But more worrisome is, if the entire intellectual class from India leaves and go to better locations, better destinations, America, Europe, Canada, and even UAE, then I think it's a matter for introspection for India.
Correct.
That how to retain
that was precisely my question. In fact, Professor Rakesh Mohan could chime in on that. Professor, is this going to be a brain drain risk for India?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. If you see in 23 lakh rupees, they are giving us lifetime visa, but people like us pay at least 10 lakh rupee every year in income tax. Now, the taxpayers in this country are also expecting something. This is the basic thing. I think that, the government to the intellectual class, say doctors, lawyers, professionals, officers, who don't have any means of saving, no investment. Our only investment is our house, that's all. And therefore, countries like UAE, and there are other countries as well, Canada is one, Australia is one, they are also giving some, Italy is one, they are giving talent-based visas to attract this. So either the talent which goes there, either we are expecting that they gives back in terms of the savings to India, the remittances, inward remittances. UAE account for 18% of the inward remittances, which is almost 24 billion US dollar per annum. So either inward remittances or their intellectual capital. So a person which is grown in India, the government of India spent so much of the money in teaching them in the top institute, you call it IIT, IIM, where fees are, say IIT fees are very, very subsidized, the taxpayer subsidy. And if this talent goes outside, so we are not getting advantage of that talent. So this is one thing. Individually, it could be a matter of happiness for those who go there. They think the life is big. I am not very sure the life is big or not.
Money is
how
big.
the
You
innovation
earn
and
big
invention
money.
in
You
this
earn in
country
dirhams.
happen.
You can invest in India. That's usually an Indian mentality, that you work abroad to save money enough to buy a lavish house or assets in India. That's what it is. Do you believe in inevitably money is anyway going to come to India? Manish Chand, CEO, Center for Global India Insights, maybe will have a better
yes. So I think
understanding.
it's a golden opportunity for both sides in some ways. Fears and apprehensions of brain drain aside, you are right. If you have high value individuals and not just moneyed people, but talent powerhouse, talented people, professional, skilled people. So this marks a major shift from just propertied individuals, people who want to invest, and providing this golden opportunity to the upper middle class, people of certain income bracket, and it is also selling a lifestyle and opportunity to entrench themselves. A lifetime visa means that you are here for the long game, And so obviously, if you're going to make money in UAE and anybody is going to invest, or, say 20 lakh plus for visa, when, in ordinary course of things, he could just have visa for a few thousand rupee and keep going again and again. What it means is they're going to play the long game, and obviously some of the money will come back to India. So it's not a one-sided, one-way traffic, Also, you have to understand that what is this reflection of? It is, of course, as pointed out earlier by a panelist, or one of the panelists, it's about UAE looking for an infusion of talent. UAE in quest of building a knowledge-based society. Right now, you see, the bulk of Indian people who are staying there are probably blue-collar people. Now, what you're looking to attract is the high-end people, people of talent, capability, excellence, and I'm quite encouraged to see the focus on creative
Do you
people.
feel that India is priority here, not just because of the relations, but also cheap labor? That Indians may not be as expensive as talents from the West?
Yes. That also is a factor comparatively. If you look at, say, for example, a doctor or a performer, the rates compared to the developed countries. So yes, it is affordable, but I don't think that's the only factor. If you're taking the long view, it leads to an amalgamation of two different, but yet similar culture. And it is also, that America is no longer the promised land anymore. So I think UAE is capitalizing on that. UAE is everything going for it in some ways, in terms of world-class infrastructure, glittery lifestyle, and everything else, quality of life to some extent. So it is not just, that UAE is looking to attract cheap talent. It is looking to attract quality people from India to add to to amalgamate, to integrate in their social fabric, cultural fabric. And it
All right.
bodes very well.
I of course have a question on what this does to the global race for talent then. What about other countries?
Right.
Ambassador Suresh, you want to tell us a little more on how the process for visa approvals happen across the world, residency particularly. It's not very easy in the West, but yet I do know that talent is preferred. Good talent have a place across the world. Australia, be it US or UK, are very clear that they want talented individuals in their country. Only those kinds and categories get a visa. Can't hear you, sir. Please unmute yourself.
All right. Talent always has been given a preference in most of the countries for migrant visas, whether it is Australia or Singapore or the USA. It has been a process all the time really here. I think in that sense, if you look at what the UAE is doing, as I said earlier, they're trying to attract professionals to come to the UAE. UAE has begun to come, or has begun to really come forward as the country playing a role amongst the so-called industrialized developed economies, where the professionalism matters a lot in terms of business conduct, etc., etc. Please do remember that UAE has been a favorite destination already for migrant labor from India. There are lots of Indians working in the trade in India. In fact, the population of Indians in the UAE is already about 30 to 40% in terms of what they're doing. So the point really here is whether UAE with this scheme will be able to attract professional Indians to come to the UAE to do whatever they're doing. The fact is, for most of the Indians, even today, the destination, the cherished destination remain the USA, Europe, Australia, Singapore. Will they be attracted by the scheme to come to the UAE if they find that they can actually get over it? Now, if they do go to the UAE with the long-term residential visa, what is the guarantee that if they find better opportunities in the USA, they will not leave the UAE for the USA? So it's all basically, let's not even talk about the brain drain. It's a fictitious term really now. People move from one country to the other country wherever they find the opportunities, and so will the Indians. So let us see how it's able to really work in terms of movement of professional Indians to UAE. I'm not really 100% sanguine that it is going to work really that way, because the preferences for the Indian professionals remains more or less what I said: USA, Europe, Singapore, Australia, UAE, etc.
Those are preferred destinations for Indians, you say?
Absolutely.
Okay, but I still feel that the distance between India to UAE is also very favorable for Indians. No? No?
No, the distance, but for the professional Indians, I've seen them all along. I've seen them in the USA, I've seen them
but just a question,
in Singapore.
Just a question, a stamp, a UAE stamp on your resume, a company working in Dubai versus a stamp that you have from maybe Australia, UK, US, what holds more weightage?
I would really say any day, even today, a stamp of the US, of Australia, a stamp from Singapore, a stamp from Europe or the USA will still be far outweigh.
Would you say the same, Professor?
No, I think the stamp of made in India is stronger than a stamp in Australia or UAE, because I think to succeed you require an Indian and not a person born in Australia or UAE. That is perfectly fine. But what I am worried about it is not that from UAE the professional goes to US or UK or Australia. What I am worried is he should come back to India. He need to contribute to India. And I think we require strategies. For UAE it could be good, but we require strategies where we attract the talents, giving them the world class conducive environment opportunities. So, my worry is a long-term strategic concern that, India need to provide that. If you look into the higher education, 4-5 lakhs students are going abroad every year.
Yeah.
But the number of students coming in is 50,000, 60,000 for last multiple years. So unless the inflow of the talent in India is moved, you are very right that people go to UAE and then they look for Canada and then America. It's a bit trek that will become. It could be easier for them, but I think to make India great, and to have our concept of Viksit Bharat 1947, India need to nurture the talent on its own soil. We need to attract not only the Indians but even foreigners who can contribute to the
and we've
growth
also
of
got
India.
to rework on our taxes if possible. That will be a big motivator for Indians to stay back as well. Our taxes is one of the highest to start a business, to bring foreign funds. My God. So and UAE offers on many levels tax-free income. So
very right.
Thank you very much. I'm short on time. I really appreciate all of you for joining us, sir. Thank you. All right, let me quickly shift our focus on day to night to our top story. As we see trending on all platforms today is how an M&S worker or a leader's son crashes into a Marathi lady, and there you have it, images where he's seen naked, drunk and arguing with her. This comes just days after the MNS faced flack for assaulting a man for not speaking Marathi and vandalizing the office of an entrepreneur who dared to say he won't learn Marathi. The party now finds itself red-faced over this very shocking behavior. In the heart of Mumbai's Andheri, a drunk, half-naked man hurling abuses on a public road. The man is Rahil Sheikh, son of senior MNS functionary Javed Sheikh. Eyewitnesses say Rahil rammed his car into influencer Rajshri More's vehicle, and when confronted, he didn't just lash out, he threatened her on camera, says take the money and get out. He was drunk, half naked. Rajshri took the courage to shoot that video, that selfie video where she narrated the entire incident. In fact, this is the same Rajshri, in fact, who was recently almost criticized or almost abused by the same MNS party, as she, being a Marathi, said, I support Marathi, but I don't support the methods of imposing Marathi on people violently. She got huge backlash from MNS supporters, and just days after that, here's another episode where this MNS leader's son crashes into her vehicle in a drunken state. You had political reactions. Shiv Sena Sanjay Nirupam not mincing words, calling MNS a party that promotes Gundaism under guise of Marathi Asmita.
ये जो लड़का है, ये मनसे के कोई उपाध्यक्ष हैं जावेद शेख, उनका सुपुत्र है। ये राहिल या साहिल नाम का जो लड़का है, ये नशे में धुत है। एक ऐसा मुसलमान है जो शराब पी के घूम रहा है। उसका शराब पी के उसने गाड़ी चलाई और जाकर गाड़ी ठोक दी, और जब इस महिला ने विरोध किया तो इस महिला को गाली दी, और उसके बाद बार बार अपने बाप के पोजीशन को फ्लॉन्ट कर रहा है। इससे दो बातें स्पष्ट होती हैं कि मनसे वाले मराठी भाषा के नाम पर जिस तरीके से उत्पात मचा रहे हैं, ये दरअसल गुंडागर्दी है।
Now, the incident is only the latest in the string of MNS flashpoints, from targeting non-Marathi speakers to strong arming critiques. Well, you had many episodes that raised eyebrows. Recently, a shopkeeper there trashed by MNS workers for not speaking Marathi. In fact, just days ago, you saw the two Thakre brothers coming together on a rare stage, celebrating the state government's rollback of Hindi in schools. Many saw this as a symbolic boost for Marathi assertion. Two brothers who were warring for so long finally came together for the sake of Marathi. But then these episodes of MNS workers assaulting people for not speaking Marathi, well, this is no face of Marathi pride. It's not cultural assertion here anymore. From what we see, it's clear political arrogance. And MNS can no longer hide behind this rhetoric. The girl there, in fact, who faced the brunt by this very MNS worker, Rajshri, joins me live. Thank you very much, Rajshri, for speaking to News9 and explaining to us what has happened. We saw that very clip where the man half naked crashed into your car. I'd like you to tell me what exactly happened. हुआ था क्या, और ये क्या जानबूझ के किया गया आपके साथ? क्योंकि MNS सपोर्टर्स ने आपको कुछ ही दिन पहले बहुत गाली दी कि आपने बोला फोर्सफुल इम्पोजिशन गलत है।
यस मैम, बिल्कुल ये मुझे भी लगता है कि मुझे टारगेट किया गया है। जैसे कि सब लोग जानते हैं, 2 दिन पहले मैंने एक वीडियो पोस्ट किया था, तो उसके वजह से मुझे मनसे वालों ने थ्रेट्स किए। और मैं बिजनेस करती हूँ अंधेरी लोखंड वाला मार्केट में, मेरे स्टूडियोज है, तो उन्होंने मुझे थ्रेट्स किए कि हम तुम्हारा व्यवसाय पूरा खत्म कर देंगे, तुम्हारे स्टूडियो तोड़ देंगे अगर आप हमसे माफी नहीं मांगोगी, क्योंकि आप नॉन मराठीज को सपोर्ट कर रही हो।
आप हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए। हम व्यूअर्स को बताना चाहते हैं कि हुआ क्या था। जस्ट अ क्विक लुक एट व्हाट दैट गाय सेड टू हर आफ्टर क्रैशिंग इनटू हर। इट वाज एंटायरली हिज फॉल्ट, बट लुक एट द एंटाइटलमेंट।
मी राजश्री मोरे।
अरे राजश्री मोरे, तू कोण आहेस भाई?
अरे मी नाही रे, मी एक बिचारी काम करणारी मुलगी आहे। मी कोण आहे?
माझा बाप ना महाराष्ट्र राज्य उपाध्यक्ष आहे।
तुझा बाप महाराष्ट्राचा अध्यक्ष आहे?
हा।
कोण? मनसेवाले?
हा।
अच्छा, आणि तू दारू पिऊन माझ्या गाडीवर चढणार, गाडी ठोकणार?
पैसे घे।
अच्छा, तू मला शिव्या देतोयस? हा, दे शिव्या, दे शिव्या मला।
नाही जा सांभो आणि मग माझ्याकडे ये।
कुठं का थांबव? एक मिनिट।
हा, बोल।
गाडी कुणाची ठोकली तू, त्यांची की माझी?
जी, Now there you have it. Rashri with us again. बोलिए, हमने देखा है क्या हुआ. उसकी गलती है, पी के गाड़ी चला रहा था और आपकी गाड़ी को टक्कर मारा. फिर उसने क्या कहा? अपने पिताजी का नाम लिया?
जी जी, वो अपना नाम बताने में तो इंटरेस्टेड नहीं था मैम. उसको ये कहना था कि तुझे पता है मेरा बाप कौन है, तुम जानती हो मैं कौन हूँ. एंड देन ही सेड के एक काम करो, राज ठाकरे के घर जाओ, मेरा नाम लो और जाके तुम्हारी गाड़ी का जो भी नुकसान हुआ है जाके वहां से पैसे ले लो.
इतना गुरूर कैसे है? एमएनएस तो पावर में भी नहीं है.
गुरूर तो मुझे वही, मेरा भी यही सवाल है कि किस चीज का गुरूर है. किसी को इस तरीके से पहले मुझे टारगेट किया जाता है. मैं एक मराठी लड़की हूं. अगर मराठी लड़की होने के बावजूद मैं नॉन मराठीज के लिए हाथ उठाती हूं कि प्लीज आप उनके ऊपर अत्याचार मत करिए, उनको काम करने दीजिए, आप उनको मत सताइए. तो वो लोग मुझे भी दबा रहे हैं, मुझे थ्रेट्स किए, मेरा व्यवसाय खत्म करने की बात करते हैं और उसके बाद सीधा सीधा मुझे टारगेट किया जाता है. इस लड़के ने मेरी कार को 2 बार मारा है, 1 टाइम नहीं मारा.
के किया है? आप बोल रहे हो कि जानबूझ के आपको टारगेट किया जा रहा है?
रात के 1:30 बजे मैं कहां से आ रही हूँ? मैं गोरेगांव से आ रही हूँ. कैसे पता किसी को? क्या मेरा पीछा किया जा रहा है क्योंकि मैंने माफी नहीं मांगी है? ये अपना ईगो सेटिस्फाइड करने के लिए किसी को कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, किसी को मार सकते हैं, किसी के साथ कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, गाली गलौज. ये लड़का मुझे मेरे ऊपर मारने के लिए भी आया था, तब पुलिस वालों ने उसको धक्का देके उसको गिराया है. ये राहिल शेख.
लिए राजश्री जी, आपने हिम्मत से बोला है कि मैं मराठी हूं मगर मैं वायलेंस पे बिलीव नहीं करती हूं और लैंग्वेज ऐसे इम्पोज करना किसी के ऊपर गलत है. आप फिर से बताइए आपका व्यूज क्या है ये मराठी इम्पोजिशन, क्योंकि ये लैंग्वेज वॉर जो है हर तरफ चल रहा है, कर्नाटक में भी ऐसा होता रहता है. तो आपके हिसाब से लैंग्वेज को कैसे सिखाना चाहिए अच्छी तरीके से, नॉन वायलेंट तरीके से?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मैम, हर चीज का एक तरीका होता है. अगर आप किसी को जाके अग्रेसिव में गाली दोगे तो बदले में आपको गाली ही मिलेगी. अगर आप मोहब्बत से जाके किसी से कोई बात करोगे, आपके पास बहुत सारे अलग अलग तरीके हैं सामने वाले को समझाने के. आप एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करिए. मैं ये नहीं बोलती कि मराठी नहीं बोलनी चाहिए, मराठी बोलिए. जितनी ज्यादा लोग मराठी बोलेंगे उतना उनका काम जल्दी फास्ट हो जाता है. आज हम बीएमसी ऑफिस जाते हैं, 4 जगह और जाते हैं, मराठी बोलने से काम बहुत फास्ट हो जाते हैं. ये प्लस पॉइंट है, इसलिए भी मराठी सीखिए. बट मराठी सीखने के लिए इन्होंने कोई और तरीका अपनाया, कोई क्लासेस दिए या स्कूल में आपने ये बताया कि आपको मराठी में बात करवाओ बच्चों से, क्योंकि ये महाराष्ट्र है. सीधा जाके आप किसी के कान के नीचे मारोगे और बोलोगे मराठी बोलो चलो. ऐसे कोई लैंग्वेज किसी से नहीं बुलवा सकता और ऐसे लैंग्वेज हम बोल भी नहीं सकते. कोई मेरे साथ भी करेगा, मैं भी लैंग्वेज ऐसे नहीं बोल पाऊंगी. अगर आपको लैंग्वेज सिखानी है तो 1000 तरीके हैं. आप प्यार से समझाइए, आप प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करिए, लोगों को बोलिए कि देखिए आप इतने सालों से यहाँ पे रहते हैं, अब हम मराठी में वार्तालाप करेंगे. आप धीरे धीरे सीखने की कोशिश करिए. हमारे जो लोकल पार्टीज यहाँ मुंबई की जो यहाँ पे पार्टी है, उन्हें हमारे लिए एक फादर फिगर के हिसाब से खड़े रहना चाहिए. वो हमारे लिए फादर फिगर होना चाहिए, ना कि हम उनके वजह से डर के जिए. आज मैं अपने घर में ही डर रही हूँ. एक मराठी होने के बावजूद जब वो लोग मेरे साथ ये कर सकते हैं तो नॉन मराठी के क्या हालत करते हैं ये लोग.
आप ये कह रही है कि ये क्योंकि आपने अपोलोजाइज नहीं किया, ये लोग आपके ऊपर अटैक कर रहे हैं. क्या अभी तक एमएनएस के ऑफिशियल्स या लीडर्स ने कुछ कहा है? कोई आपके सपोर्ट, आपके पक्ष में कुछ बोला है?
किसी ने कुछ नहीं बोला है, कोई भी सामने नहीं आया है, किसी ने कुछ नहीं बोला है। लोगों के कॉल आ रहे हैं, नॉर्मल लोगों के फोन आ रहे हैं, किसी एक मराठी इंसान का मुझे कॉल नहीं आया है, ना कोई पार्टी से मुझे एक कॉल आया है।
क्या संदेश देना चाहते हो? क्या आपने पुलिस सिक्योरिटी मांगी है?
मैम, मैंने आज पुलिस सिक्योरिटी नहीं मांगी है, बट हालांकि 2 डेज बिफोर जब मुझे टारगेट किया गया था, जो मेरा व्यवसाय इनको खत्म करना था, मेरा बिजनेस, तो मुझे सामने से पुलिस सिक्योरिटी मिली थी। उस दिन जो मैं स्टूडियो चलाती हूँ लोखंडवाला मार्केट में, मेरे दोनों स्टूडियो पे पुलिस सिक्योरिटी थी और मेरे साथ भी पुलिस थी उस दिन। पुलिस ने अपना काम बहुत अच्छे से किया है, ओशिवरा पुलिस स्टेशन ने। बट हाँ, मैं डर में हूं। आज मैं घर से बाहर निकलूं नहीं निकलूं, मुझे डर लग रहा है, क्योंकि मुझे उस दिन भी पुलिस स्टेशन में ये बोला गया था कि हम तुम्हें देख लेंगे, तुम मराठी नहीं बोलोगी, तुम अगर हमारी मराठी होने के बावजूद परप्रांतीय लोगों का अगर साथ दोगी तो हम तुम्हें नहीं रहने देंगे। और इस राहिल ने भी वही बात बोली है कल रात को कि मैं तुम्हें देख लूंगा। मेरे पास और वीडियोस है जो मैंने अभी तक नहीं डाले हैं।
पुलिस प्रोटेक्शन मांग रही हो? आपके स्टूडियो को भी उन्होंने पूरा वैंडलाइज किया है?
जी, उन्होंने टोटली मुझे थ्रेट्स किए थे 2 दिन पहले की जो बात थी कि हम लोग आपके स्टूडियो तोड़ देंगे। जब सीनियर ने ओशिवरा, हमारे एरिया में ओशिवरा पुलिस स्टेशन के जो सीनियर थे, उन्होंने बात बहुत अच्छे से संभाली। उन्होंने उनको समझाया कि अकेली लड़की काम करती है, मराठी लड़की है, इसको बख्श दो।
बख्श दो? Well, spare the young lady for speaking the truth. Very shameful, happening in a city like Mumbai, which is multicultural. You have a global audience there. Was known to be one of the safest cities all through decades. That it has been glorified as a culture hub, financial capital, in every way the real destination for people across the globe to arrive. Mumbai, now looking at instances like this, a lady who's Marathi, originally Marathi, who stands up for people who are being brutalized by the MNS, says do not impose Marathi on people in a violent way. People should learn out of their own willingness. And this girl gets targeted. She's a YouTuber. Her studio gets vandalized by MNS members. She gets stalked by these men. And finally they crash into her car and they say, go to MNS leaders and take money from there. Brazenness that's unfolding in Mumbai. And I'm shocked so far, even the Fadnavis government has not taken action. क्या वो अरेस्ट हुआ है ये बंदा जो हमारे स्क्रीन पे दिख रहा है?
जी नहीं मैम, मेरी एफआईआर हुई है। एफआईआर करके मैं वापस घर पे आई थी। उसके बाद मुझे पता चला है कि मेरे आने के 10-15 मिनट में ही उसको नोटिस पे छोड़ दिया गया।
राजश्री जी, बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं प्रार्थना करती हूँ कि आपका केस सीरियसली लिया जाए और आपको प्रोटेक्शन दिया जाए। We are going to surely follow up on your story. You can be rest assured that News9 will be tracking this very closely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. On that note, I slip into a very short break. We'll be right back with all the top stories on Day Tonight.
पार्टी हॉर्न्स भी होने चाहिए, मंगा लेती हूँ। खाकरा मंगवा लेती हूँ। थेपला भी मंगवाएगी। थेपला भी मंगवा लेती हूँ। अलग अलग मत ऑर्डर कर, एक बार में मंगवा। एफर्ट्स और पैसे दोनों बचाओ। सेविंग्स की विद्या तो कोई तुझसे सीखे। जब पैसा हो बचाना, फेडरल बैंक से रिश्ता बनाना।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कर आता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
कहाँ खोया रहता है भाई? हमेशा मोबाइल में घुसा रहता है। आपकी महबूबा देख रहा हूँ। ये सब क्या है भैया? हाँ, क्या बाइक थी यार, पिंच एकदम। हाँ, बाइकर बनने का सपना जो था, फिर ये डुगडुगी गई कहाँ? पापा के साथ साथ सारे सपने भी चले गए। अब तो बस अपने गैराज में बैठा लोगों की डुगडुगी ठीक करता रहता हूँ। और अपने बच्चों के सपनों के साथ ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने देना। वो कैसे? पहले से लाइफ इंश्योरेंस का टर्म प्लान रखा। बड़े भैया
सपनों को रखो सुरक्षित टर्म प्लान के साथ। सबसे पहले लाइफ इंश्योरेंस।
बुझने लगे किसी की उमंग को, उसको तो रंग दो, दुनिया को रंग दो। दुनिया को रंग दो।
Birla Opus Paints.
Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers, the Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas.
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News9's pick of the week. Don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News9's page 3 is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
A quick look at our top story you may not have seen anywhere. Here in Bihar, a family of 5 have been burnt alive in the dead of the night, allegedly by their own neighbors over black magic. It happened in Bihar's Purnia district and is said to be one of the most chilling hate crimes that we've seen in recent times. Imagine the entire village has been complicit in burning an entire family. The police say the horror unfolded when the 16-year-old boy ran to them at 5 a.m. He was the only survivor, came in shock to them and said his entire family has been burnt. He says members of the around community dragged his family out of their home, beat them and then set them on fire, accusing them of performing black magic. When police tried to interrogate, villagers all claimed that these 5 people have been missing. But then police immediately launched a search operation, found 5 charred bodies from that village. 3 arrests have been made, but is that really enough? Can justice really be served when an entire village is complicit to this crime? Locals say it was revenge killing, that one Ramdev Oraon lost his child 3 days ago and he blamed this family for it. He says he claimed that the family had done black magic and that's how my son died. Now, he had no proof to that, but just believed the family was guilty and then managed to gather the entire village to actually agree to this criminal act and burnt one full family alive, including women and children. Superstition clearly blinding this entire village, but just a few arrests. How will this investigation even go forward? India has an anti-superstition law. But what do you do when the mob thinks this killing was basically justice served? And now the Nawab of Bollywood, Saif Ali Khan's claim to his royal Bhopal inheritance has suffered a major blow. Madhya Pradesh High Court has now cancelled a 2000 trial court order that had favoured Saif Ali Khan's grandmother, Begum Sajida Sultan, and handed her the family's massive estate. So basically, what slips away is nearly 1,500 crores of property that ideally belonged to Saif Ali Khan and his family, as per the latest or the most recent court ruling. Now, Sajida, basically mother of Saif Ali Khan, the grandmother of Saif Ali Khan, was made the legal heir in 1950s after her elder sister Abida Sultan moved to Pakistan. Now, that move basically cleared Sajida's path to inherit the title of Bhopal's Nawab. She was the Lady Nawab, and basically all that property came to her, including palaces, hotels, land all across Madhya Pradesh. That very Patodi Palace, though, is right now handled by a hospitality brand, Nimrana, but it very well belongs to the Patodi family at this point. But the court says otherwise. In fact, to give you a little glimpse, the Nawab's third daughter, Rabia Sultan, now, in another case, a separate case, has basically challenged the previous order that had said that Saif Ali Khan's family were the legal heirs. Saif's cousin basically says that under Sharia law, all members of the family should have equal rights to the property. They said that the Royal Bhopal Succession Act of 1947, which handed the estate to Sajida, has no legal standing after independence. The High Court has now agreed, ordering a fresh trial and directing this estate now to be reviewed under Sharia law. So remember, there are two cases here that Saif Ali Khan is fighting. One where he has the rights to the property, but his cousins are now fighting under Sharia law. They all get an equal share. And two, whether the property is indeed under their possession or not, because then the government of India has already declared some parts of that massive property as enemy property. Basically, if you've moved to Pakistan or family members move to Pakistan, then that property automatically comes under the Indian government. You cannot hold ownership, even if you're one of the family members who've decided to stay back. So both cases that Saif Ali Khan is fighting, even if he manages to win back some of the property, his cousins are not letting go. It appears that Saif Ali Khan's shares would drop by 2 to 3% if all family members get a chunk of that property there. So a big setback undoubtedly for Saif Ali Khan, but of course the court is still open to him. Will he want to take this a step further, to take this to the apex court and fight this case? It's been on for 2 decades that he's fighting it. How far will he go to actually get hold of his ancestral property remains to be seen. All right, shifting our focus into our top deep dive story on the BRICS leaders who've come together just hours, in fact, after BRICS leaders released the Rio de Janeiro declaration calling out the global risks of rising tariffs. Donald Trump has now responded. Without naming the US or Trump, BRICS has warned that indiscriminate tariffs could threaten global trade. Trump responded with a blunt warning on Truth Social. Any country aligning with BRICS anti-American policies will face an additional 10% tariff. No exceptions. So he didn't define what those anti-American policies really were, but doubled down, announcing that he calls what he calls basically take it or leave it tariff letters. So at this point, we're on standby for Trump to basically release a list of countries that he's imposing tariffs on. An additional 10% tariff. Will India be on that list is a question. India and United States already are currently discussing a trade deal. Amid that, Trump basically threatening that all BRICS members will face tariffs. This tariff deal letters are expected to be delivered anytime now as I speak. In fact, Trump had posted saying, and I quote, tariff letters will go out starting 12 p.m. Eastern on July 7th. He posted this, making quite clear that he's going full throttle on economic pressure. At this point, we see multiple countries who's responded. Kremlin has hit back, saying BRICS isn't trying to hurt any country, particularly pointing at US. Let's hear it.
Sending letters out on Monday having to do with the trade deals. It could be 12, maybe 15. You know, Secretary of Commerce right here. And I guess, Howard, I would say it could be maybe as many as 15 or so. And they'll be going out on Monday, and some will go out on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we've made deals also. So we're going to have a combination of letters, and some deals have been made.
刚刚我已经介绍了我们对金砖机制的一个看法。我们觉得金砖机制是国际上的一个积极力量。金砖合作是开放包容的，不针对任何国家。那么至于关税，我们一贯反对搞关税战、贸易战，反对以关税作为胁迫、施压的工具。肆意的加征关税不符合任何一方的利益。
All right, there you have it. China there, of course, has repeatedly said that Trump is basically using tariffs as a tool to target countries, but Trump has minced no words. He's been calling BRICS anti-American, targeting its push for a dollar alternative. So naturally, the US president saying that you're trying to hurt the United States by coming up with a different currency, the BRICS nation BRICS members rather are mulling over. Let me quickly introduce our guests joining us. J.K. Tripathi, former Indian diplomat. We also have Nirmal Abraham, columnist and US expert. Thank you very much, both of you, for speaking to News9. J.K. Tripathi, your take, sir, on Trump there threatening countries, all those countries who are BRICS member nations will face an additional 10% tariff. If I really think of this move practically, I would say why not? If a country is being hurt, or if a country's currency is hurt, if there's an alternative currency that a few other countries are mulling over, then I will do everything I can to protect my country and its interest.
But you see, Nabila, Trump is this way generalizing the tariff sanctions, tariff increases. He is blaming the entire BRICS. And BRICS means, okay, I can understand Russia and China. They are, especially China. China is, trade with China is pinching US much. And to some extent, it is pinching India. Trade with India is also pinching because India has a surplus trade. But what about other countries? What about UAE? What about Saudi Arabia? What about Egypt? What about Indonesia? These countries are supposed to be friendly with US administration. So if he is trying to target the entire BRICS community of 11, then certainly he is going to lose. Because US economy as such, as on today, US economy is not in a position to do that. But if it
political stunt, if you're saying that it's not feasible,
it is not.
Is it a political stunt then?
It is not feasible, and knowing Trump, knowing how Trump behaves, how Trump speaks, and how unpredictable he becomes, it is no wonder that after some time, maybe after a few days, he will come down like a businessman. He is not a diplomat, nor he is a politician.
We've been going yo-yo right from the start on his tariffs. But Nirmal, can BRICS nations stand united under this pressure? Or will, national interest for these nations then override?
No, I think they will for multiple reasons, because I think the reason Trump is calling their policies anti-American is because of bypassing sanctions. For example, China is still buying oil from Russia and Iran. India is openly buying discounted oil from Russia. BRICS as a group is trying to bring up a new currency. There have been discussions going on to compete with IMF and World Bank. They came up with NDB, the New Development Bank. So there are multiple reasons why Trump is worried, as you rightly said. But I think if any action is taken against these countries, especially given that these are not regular nations, this is not just another alliance. It includes three superpowers. One is the emerging superpower, which is, I would love to call India. Second is the already emerged superpower, which is China, America's closest competitor, and the old and still formidable superpower Russia. So it's a formidable alliance. I don't think we, including India, would step back if Trump decides to come up with tariffs.
How do you think India should respond given the ties that it has with the United States as well as BRICS, of course?
Is a question to me? Or?
Nirmal, that question was for you, and I just heard news coming in that 25% tariffs have been slapped on Japan and North Korea.
Not India so far, right? So
not India yet.
So I guess that's good news. I also agree with Sri Tripathi because, as he rightly said, this is a negotiation tactic that Trump likes to put in because, as you know, there is a bilateral trade agreement that is still in discussion. We saw what happened to Vietnam. Vietnam had to really push back when Trump tried to pressure them. He's probably trying to do the same thing with India, given that India is still buying oil from Russia. He would want India to come up with better terms for the bilateral trade agreement with the United States. So I believe it's a negotiation tactic because so far India has been very, very cooperative. So it'll be very unfortunate if the letter somehow says that India's tariffs have been, reverted back to
25% tariffs on South Korea and Japan. What does that mean? That's steep.
It is very steep. Japan, I think he had initiated a conversation, but Japan wasn't willing, and we expected a tariff on Japan because they were not negotiating. Plus, he also mentioned that 40% of the automobile market in the United States is actually dominated by Japanese brands, and they're benefiting. So he had actually given a couple of intimations, but Japan wasn't ready to negotiate. So this was expected. Japanese tariffs were expected. India, I'm hoping that it doesn't come back to 26%.
All right. A final word from you, sir, J.K. Tripathi, on how should India react given the friendship it has with the US and it's a BRIC member?
Well, India is still in negotiations with US, and I think for India things will be easier. Things should be easier, and there won't be much problem because it's a three basic things. Points of contention or products of contention are three, basically: steel, aluminium, and dairy, and what you call automobile. Now, automobile, only Harley Davidson is the point of contention. So that doesn't
okay.
That doesn't mean much. But coming to steel and aluminium also, there are many more countries like Canada, Mexico, UAE, China, Republic of Korea, and Brazil who export more steel and aluminium to US than India does. India does only 4 point
okay, you're saying there's not the exponential amount of trade that India should be worried about, but nonetheless, we're looking at an ongoing trade deal and conversations between India and US. Let's just hope that's not derailed. Keeping our fingers crossed on the friendship, we're banking on that. Thanks very much, the two of you, as I'm short on time. Thank you. We're slipping into a short break. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned on the other side. We will continue on the Trump tariff announcements that he's making as I speak right here. Stay with us.
It's never easy to choose a new path, stand out in the crowd, to have your own new identity. The journey to self-reliance begins when you're fully prepared. Tata Motors Commercial Vehicles presents the new Ace Pro, now in bi-fuel, EV and petrol variants. So get ready to say it loud. Ace Pro, ab meri bari.
पार्टी हॉर्न्स भी होने चाहिए, मंगा लेती हूँ। खाकरा मंगवा लेती हूँ। थेपला भी मंगवाएगी। थेपला भी मंगवा लेती हूँ। अलग अलग मत ऑर्डर कर, एक बार में मंगवा। एफर्ट्स और पैसे दोनों बचा। सेविंग्स की विद्या तो कोई तुझसे सीखे। जब पैसा हो बचाना, फेडरल बैंक से रिश्ता बनाना।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी।